Christopher Bell wins at Homestead-Miami Speedway, but an interesting weekend for Ryan Blaney and also two Joe Gibbs racing drivers. We'll talk about it next on NASCAR America Motormouths. Hi, everyone. Marty Snider, Nate Ryan, Jeff Burton joining you here today. Christopher Bell punched his ticket to the championship four with a win at Miami. But Ryan Blaney with a very impressive run, Nate. And I'm just curious from your standpoint. I know he had the win at Talladega, but could you argue with the expectations coming in, maybe this was the most impressive race of the playoffs for Ryan Blaney?
Yeah, especially, Marty, when you consider everything that team went through since the end of the Las Vegas race, where at one point it appears that his finish has been nullified. It's becoming a must win now the rest of the way. And then within 24 hours, NASCAR rescinds that initial disqualification. And now it's like, okay, now we have to get ready again and run it back for Homestead-Miami Speedway. But I think I was most impressed by just how well the team now has run at 2.5 mile tracks to open the round of 8. We've seen this year that the Fords have tended to struggle a little bit, particularly Penske at some of these speedways. But it seems like this team has fixed its issues. It's found its extra gear in these final 10 races. And Ryan Blaney, is watching here, just showed utmost confidence in being able to run right up against the wall where all that speed is at Homestead-Miami Speedway. So I thought sublime performance both by driver and by the team to really pick up their playoff performance again and give themselves a real shot now, Jeff, at advancing to the championship four on points. They could do it with a strong finish at Martinsville.
Yeah, look, I want to give Team Penske a ton of credit because when they unloaded on Saturday, every one of their cars was fast. Every one of their cars, you can make a case, had top 12 speed. Every one of them, and that has not been the case on 1.5 mile racetracks where there was consistent speed and they all had it. I know Logano ended up wrecking. He had to go to the back of a car. He still had speed yesterday. Cindric had speed at times yesterday. So great job by Team Penske. And that's what this team needed, right? That's what this 12 team in the playoffs needed. They needed to unload with speed. And they've been doing a nice job of race management per se. But to get it really done, you had to have speed, and that's what they had. And even though they didn't win the race, they scored great points, in the stages. They had a good finish. And without the run in with Denny Hamlin, right, where he got run up, where Denny ran him up the racetrack, Blaney has a serious chance to still win that race, even though he didn't have a good short run car. So huge props to those guys because they stepped up and they brought some real speed.
Real quick, before we get to the Joe Gibbs racing drivers, Jeff, what did you think about the way that Blaney and Hamlin raced each other? I don't think Ryan Blaney was very happy with Denny Hamlin.
Well, look, it's playoff racing, and there's so much on the line. I don't think that anything was done wrong, right? I don't think Hamlin did anything, just terribly wrong. I think Hamlin's racing hard, and he's trying to get all he can. And he got in the corner there one time, and really, I thought ran Blaney way up the racetrack. That was the one corner that really hurt. But what are you going to do if you're Hamlin, right? He's racing for a chance to advance to the next round too, and that's what these playoffs do. Nobody got wrecked. Nobody got shoved in a wall. It was just good hard racing.
So speaking of Hamlin, Nate, what is it about this race team? They can be on fire in the summer, and everybody says, "Oh, they're the favorite." When it comes to the month of October, it just seems to fall apart for Denny Hamlin and the 11 team. And it looks like it's happening now. What do you think about where the 11 team is right now?
Yeah, I think Kyle Petty made a really good point, I thought, post-race with you, Marty, where he said he feels like Hamlin seems to have lost his swagger a little bit, really since end of round 16. Since that win at Bristol, where he did that memorable interview with you and said, I beat your favorite driver. That, to me, felt like peak Denny Hamlin. And since then, I don't know what it is, but the team seems to have lost a step a little bit. I think it's been most evident in qualifying, where it feels like this team has been playing catch up a lot here as we take a look at Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, giving those words of encouragement to Denny after what happened here at hitting the wall at Homestead-Miami Speedway. I think he needed to hear that because I think that there has been some confidence lost there. And I think it started on Saturday. So I think looking forward to Martinsville. We know Denny has won Martinsville several times, but I think it's been over 15 starts since his last win there. So I think he needs to qualify well to kind of, set the weekend right and to kind of get the tone back to where it was in that round of 16, where it felt like every time that car went out there, the number 11 had a shot to win.
Jeff, what do you think about where Denny Hamlin is right now? A lot of people, including our very own Dale Jarrett, sticking with him as the championship pick. Is that a wise idea?
Well, look, I don't feel like they're doing badly. I don't feel like that they've got some kind of major problem. They had they were contending for the win yesterday, and they had a part failure, right? And he crashed. So I don't see like a major issue with the team. I don't feel like there's some kind of black mark on them, and I don't even feel like there's actually a loss of confidence. I just think that this is very competitive, and if you look at his day yesterday, he had that part failure and he wrecked, but he finished 6th in stage 1. He finished 4th in stage 2. I mean, that's okay. Like you can make Phoenix by doing that. So. I don't think there's some kind of major problem. I just think they just had a bad break.
How about with his teammate Martin Truex Jr.? I mean, man, I don't think anybody imagined they would have a playoff run like this, Jeff.
I think they have a problem. Look, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And they have for 2 years had these moments where they have fast race cars and just can't execute on them. And it goes back, like I just said, 2 years. They didn't run bad last year. I mean, they look where they were in points, and they didn't make the playoffs. They didn't run bad last year. They just couldn't execute. They just didn't do the things needed to win races. And it's similar this year, right? And you can hear the frustration in Truex's voice and what he says.
Oh, joke. I ain't doing that no more. I don't care.
But it's real. It's not fabricated. It's real. And when the playoffs have started, they've not been able to do the things they needed to do. Now, again, they didn't run badly yesterday either, but pit road wasn't good for them. But look, when they lost all their track position, that was just a bad break. I mean, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are short pitting nowadays. That's not uncommon. They just got a bad break when the caution came out when the 5-car ran into the end of pit wall. It's kind of hard for James Smalls to recognize that's going to happen. So that's just bad luck. You got to get over that. Breaking a motor, TRD doesn't have many engine failures. Some of that was just bad luck, but there is not much positive energy right now.
No, and we hear it on the radio every week. And I know that, I just had Steve Lutara on the NASCAR NBC podcast. And he kind of analyzed, as we always do, this relationship between James Small and Martin Truex Jr. And that's part of their MO. That frustration is something that's understood. I think if you look at the positives of the last 2 weeks, at least they've turned it around a little bit in terms of how they're running. And Truex certainly ran better at Las Vegas. That was his best finish by far of the playoffs. When you look at how his regular season championship has saved him and being able to advance through the first 2 rounds, it's not really necessarily going to save him anymore because there's only one race left. But 17 points down at Martinsville, I still think this is a track where he's won at before. He could win at again. You never know. And I think that him still being in the mix, despite everything that's happened through the first 8 races of the playoffs, that can be a win for this team. And even though that frustration is mounted so much, and we certainly heard it to the nth degree on the radio at Miami, I do think that this is a team that can still rebound and still recover from Martinsville.
Thanks for watching NASCAR America Motormouths, presented by Toyota.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.